Hey guys, Tbull here. Today we're checking out the daring new British destroyer legendary tier, of course. There's Vine on the screen. There's my build, and you'll see here ship build. Got all AA on slot 1 and slot 4. We're leaning into it. There's not a lot of carriers at legendary tier yet, but I'm waiting for you with the daring. Now, you guys always give me grief when I give you the overview number. The AA rating with this build is 78. Best at the tier currently compared to my other builds. None of them are AA builds, so I don't have good reliable comparisons for you yet, but I'm planning on covering that more and more. I'm exploring different aspects of anti-AA builds, and we'll begin to report more and more, so stay tuned for that. But here we're covering the daring and what it's good at. Now, I've always advocated kind of viewing these British destroyers as like support type destroyers, meaning they flourish best when they're around the teammates, right? You got these 6 quick cycling smokes. They only last for about a minute or so. Short duration, yes, but the quick reload and the number of them allow you to periodically just kind of stop, shoot your guns for a minute, and then move on. But that's going to require having teammates that can spot for you, right? So usually I play destroyer more or less independently with what my team's doing. You always want to be closer to your team than the enemy team, yes, but I try and play a little bit more focused on what my team's doing in the daring, just because of that aspect. Okay, and the gun caliber on this thing, the lowest at the tier compared to the other ones, and I think that's probably, I haven't run the numbers on the penetration or anything, but just intuitively I feel like that affects the HE more likely, as I'm noticing, less dangerous HE results than I would typically notice. But what we also want to be realizing, and let's check this play first, we're countering the Colbert. We got better concealment than he does. He realizes that, and I'm just trying to hope he doesn't rush me. If he rushes me, yes, I can pop the smoke. We'll be fine as long as it doesn't torp here, and we're not being located, so it doesn't have to twist and track. But we're trying to spot him and hope that these cruisers back there will take shots at him, and they scared him off, right? Currently, the cap's contested. He's turning around. He doesn't want to get shot, and that's going to allow us to begin to capture the base. So that's the play we're engaging in here, and we're just content to sit here calmly and spot, right? And I'm trying to back up towards the Colbert, re-spot him. If he wants to charge me again, once again, we will entice him to shoot once, pop the smoke, then our teammates will hopefully kill them, or at least attempt to damage them. But anyway, getting back to the ship play style, stick with the teammates. The guns, that's probably what I was talking about. The HE, decent, but the AP much more viable at the legendary tier. And that's because the armor values are increasing with these destroyers, and allowing you to finally arm these AP shells, right? At the lower tiers, you got the basically no armor destroyers. AP always overpens. You get less damage than HE basically as a rule. Okay, so you basically would always stick with HE. That's what I usually do for most tier destroyers, to be honest with you, except for in certain situations where the AP becomes more valuable. But in this case, and we're talking about destroyer v destroyer fights. In this case, though, the armor values are allowing us to arm the AP, so when these ships are broadside, we're going to be needing to use the AP. And I think that's the rule for destroyers at legendary tier in general. You always want to at least be firing 1 or 2 salvos, see what kind of hit results you get, and go from there. But daring, I'm feeling that's critically important. Okay, so here again, now Yamato's rushing in. That's always a dangerous proposition. Here the Colbert is once again spotted. You got to be careful when we're playing in these smokes here. They're very small. They only get like 2 puffs, I believe, per deployment. So it's very easy to sneak out of there, especially if you haven't played a lot of British destroyers in a while. So keep an eye on that, and also keep an eye on that 21 seconds. 20. You see that icon with the smoke there? You got to keep an eye on that. When it gets down to about 3 or 4, you need to stop shooting, especially if guys are inside of your max firing range. Otherwise, you're going to get permanently spotted. So very easy to get caught, in precarious situations here. We do have some defensive torps towards the Yamato, hoping to get 3. Only get 1, though. But that's fine. We do get his damage control. Did he use it? No, he's got a flood stuck on him. Excellent. Now he used it. Okay, now he cycled the damage control, and anyone on my team that hits him with an HE fire in the near term will get a permanent fire, resulting in good damage. So That's not a bad play there. And you can see we're shooting down his fighter plane with our excellent AA build. And the teammates piling on him. We do need the teammate to focus on the Yamato. Normally we would be advocating different targets. Like the Alaska, for instance, spotted all the way on the east. But Yamato rushing the destroyer. My God, we need him to get us to safety. Team does a great job taking him out. And we're going to re-engage. Now, this point in the game, you got to be thinking to yourself, okay, what are we doing here? We got the 2 caps. Should we be going towards A, attacking? There's the remaining destroyer over there. Of course, we still do have the Kleber to account for over here. But what do we want to be doing? But this side isn't quite yet secure. There's the Kleber, still up to no good. The Alaska hasn't lost any health. He's squared off against Kronstadt, who they're not really damaging each other heretofore. Then we got a Minotaur guarding B. So can't make a play through the middle. We'd have to kind of go around the Minotaur. So there's no real reason to leave this side yet, is the point. We're gunning down Colbert. He did shoot. He's got the other destroyer on our team close to him. So we go ahead and pop the smoke just defensively. Colbert's got bigger problems, right? He's got the destroyer near him. But I don't want the Alaska taking a free shot, especially if I'm really focused less on my movement and more on just hitting those shots and getting rid of the Colbert, which we do manage to do as a team there. So you got the smokes, and if you begin firing your guns and there's any possibility that guys you're not looking at on the enemy team might start shooting you, I would just go ahead and pop it, right? Number one, they won't get the message on their game saying destroyer spotted, which the more savvy players will begin to note where you are. The less people know about what you're doing, the better. But, you just preserve that, ooh, crap, I just lost 10K health because I was, maybe not that much, but 5,000 health because I got whacked by that Alaska. If he was paying attention, he could have easily shot me. So, all right, so let's try and jump into the stats here as we're moving through the map here briefly. On paper, second highest HE DPM. On paper, second highest AP DPM. And on paper, lowest torpedo DPM at the tier. This is out of the 5 destroyers we have currently on my builds, of course. Take that for what you will. I, again, think the actual damage is probably going to be a little bit lower with the daring than the number suggests, but it doesn't have outstanding reload. So if you get the guns hitting properly, they can do a lot of damage. All right, other stats. Health pool looks like about middle of the pack. Range, good, although I usually try and boost the range a little bit on these. The shell characteristics, medium. And my God, there's a good example of using the smoke defensively. Do we want to be under this Colbert golden shower, or do we want to be sailing through it and getting the hell out of there? We want to be stopping, dropping spot, and getting out of there. Stats, getting back to them. The torpedoes, 10 kilometers, pretty dang good. 62 knots, not that good. Speed, major problem, 35 knots, slowest at the tier. Other maneuverability stats, good. Best turn radius looks like, and rudder shift, middle of the pack. Detection, middle of the pack. So add into that, you got these 2 sonars. Short range, 3.5 surface, but good duration. Okay, 180 seconds, I believe. So it's, as long as you understand that you're going to be outspotted by the other sonars in the game, particularly the Germans, but usually it's going to be the shortest range sonar that you're going to run into. But you can use the duration of the sonar to make interesting plays. Speaking of interesting plays here, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm watching that destroyer behind me because I want to. I got a short clips channel bull bite, so now I'm always looking for crazy plays, right? And I'm thinking if I could nuke a Kronstadt with 1 torpedo launch and a Colbert with the other, somehow get a double strike. This is the disease that sets in when you get a short duration YouTube video channel. You guys could check that out. The link's in the description. But goofy ideas start to pop in your mind. So I'm like thinking about this, but more strategically, I'm like, all right, I could die here as long as everyone on my team doesn't die, which is always a distinct possibility. And it's when I usually like to rely more on myself, i.e. keep myself alive, than rely on my teammates to stay alive. But I'm feeling a little spicy here. And I'm also able to hit the Kronstadt over here. I'm annoying him. He's got the radar. I can protect myself from his radar. But look at the Colbert on the map. I haven't quite noticed him yet in the game, but I will there. And that's when I'm like, oh, this is a problem. We're surrounded by a radar cruiser and the fastest firing cruiser known to mankind. Point blank range aplenty, both of them. So we're in serious trouble here if they know what I am up to, which they could. He could pop the radar. I'm keeping that in mind. I'm also kind of trying to use myself as bait in a way. Again, I'm still looking for these catchy torpedo plays. So I'm thinking to myself, maybe if I just touch the edge of this cap, they'll both know exactly where I am. They'll both charge, and then maybe I can get this coveted double strike as I'm committing suicide with the two deadly threats just rushing me, trying to exact revenge. Well, you know, I mean, this is not textbook, and I am considering, we got to get out of here. There's the radar. I am considering, do I got time to just go north and get the heck out of here and make sure we got to win? But that's not going to happen. Colbert is getting chased. It looks like someone else is trying to torp him. He knows where we are currently. Of course, the Russian radar, which we're being detected by, short duration. So as long as we have landmass in between us, and boom, there goes Kronstadt trading with the Yamato. But as long as the landmass is there, the radar wasn't that big of a threat. Here comes the sonar, though, and that does affect the ability to torp. Of course, he sees these on launch or shortly thereafter, which gives him time to dodge. But I'm thinking maybe he wants to go for a suicide rush on me and then hit the torps anyways, but he dies before any of that happens. That's a look at the Daring for you, though. Hopefully you guys did enjoy it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Lots of World of Warships coming for you all the time. Questions, comments, leave below. Love to hear from you, and we'll see y'all later. All right, peace.